Now, this is a tale from a time when the wilderness was vast and untamed, and only the brave could survive. It's a story of courage, alliances, and the fight for survival. The year was 1757, a time of war, shifting alliances, and a wilderness caught between empires. Before the weight of progress crushed the soil beneath our feet, before a nation's identity was forged in fire and steel, there was only silence, a whisper on the wind, the rustle of leaves, a single twig snapping underfoot. Nature moved to its own rhythm until that rhythm was torn apart. This was a land untamed, dense forests, treacherous rivers, and a fragile balance shaped by generations of indigenous nations. Each have their own stories, ceremonies, and claim to the land. But then came the empires. And with them, conquest, dominion, a brutal march that tore through this harmony with unrelenting force, scattering cultures, reshaping geography, and scarring the human spirit. But did you know the film is based on a book from almost 200 years ago? Today we're diving into the original novel written by James Fenimore Cooper in 1826 and how it compares to the 1992 film adaptation and why both still hit hard today. Let's get into it. Before the relentless march of progress, before the forging of a nation's identity in steel and fire, there was a whisper carried on the wind. A profound silence, thick with the rustle of countless leaves, the sharp snap of a fallen twig underfoot, and the unspoken tension that permeated a land teetering on the precipice of irrevocable change. This was a world where the rhythm of nature dictated life, and the arrival of another kind of rhythm would shatter it forever. This land, these seemingly endless forests and treacherous, unforgiving river crossings, cradled a delicate equilibrium. A complex tapestry meticulously woven with the individual threads of numerous indigenous nations, each possessing their own rich history, their own sacred traditions, their own deep connection to the earth beneath their feet. But the arrival of empires from across the vast ocean, the insatiable, almost primal hunger for dominion, for resources, for territory, tore through that intricate weave with brutal, careless force, unleashing a protracted and merciless war that would forever alter the landscape and the souls of its inhabitants. Welcome to Adapted Realms. Today we embark on a more profound journey into the heart of James Fenimore Cooper's enduring epic, The Last of the Mohicans. Published in the nascent years of American literature, it dared to paint a vast and sweeping canvas of mythic proportions interwoven with the stark realities of history and raw, visceral adventure. At its very core, the story centers on the enigmatic figure of Hawkeye, a man born of the encroaching white world, yet raised within the ancient wisdom and fierce spirit of the proud Mohican people. Alongside him stride Chingachgook, the wise and weathered patriarch, his face etched with the stories of generations, and his son, Uncas, a figure shrouded in the poignant shadow of a fading lineage, the very embodiment of a vibrant culture teetering precariously on the brink of oblivion. They are far more than mere guides hired to navigate the treacherous paths of the untamed wilderness. They are protectors, fierce and unwavering warriors in their own right, and the living testament to a world slowly, inexorably slipping away into the mists of history. Their desperate mission, to escort the refined and resolute Cora and the gentle, more fragile Alice Munro to the supposed safety of their father, a British commander, now besieged within the increasingly vulnerable walls of Fort William Henry. But their chosen path is fraught with unseen peril, constantly shadowed by the spectre of betrayal and the brutal, unvarnished realities of a land increasingly stained by the insatiable avarice of competing empires. Cooper, through the powerful strokes of his pen, undoubtedly romanticized the frontier, imbuing it with a certain grandeur and heroism. He painted a vast and sweeping picture of bravery and resilience. But beneath the surface of this idealized vision lay a profound and undeniable sense of encroaching tragedy. He bravely dared to portray the various native tribes not as faceless adversaries or mere obstacles to progress, but as complex and multifaceted peoples, each with their own intricate societal structures, their own deeply held codes of honor and loyalty, their own fierce and unwavering courage, and their own desperate, heartbreaking fight for cultural and physical survival. And yet, like so many influential narratives that emerged from that pivotal period in history, Cooper's seminal work was also undeniably a product of its specific time, inevitably reflecting the inherent biases and the often unacknowledged limiting perspectives prevalent in early 19th century America. A lens, however well-intentioned, through which a multifaceted and often brutal reality was frequently simplified, sometimes tragically distorted, to fit the prevailing narratives of the dominant culture. Then, decades later, the ancient drums began to beat anew, their rhythm echoing through a vastly changed world. In 1992, director Michael Mann, a master of cinematic tension and atmosphere, took Cooper's enduring epic and boldly reimagined it for a modern audience, one perhaps less familiar with the nuances of the original text, but hungry for raw, emotional storytelling. He unleashed a truly immersive cinematic experience, breathtaking and sweeping vistas that captured the grandeur of the landscape, punctuated by intense and visceral action sequences, all underscored by a pulse-pounding and unforgettable score that resonated deep within the very bones of its viewers. Daniel Day-Lewis, in A Performance for the Ages, embodied Hawkeye with a primal and captivating intensity, a figure both fiercely independent, a true child of the wilderness, and yet deeply conflicted by his connection to two vastly different worlds. And at the very heart of this powerful retelling, a forbidden and deeply compelling flame ignited between him and Cora Munro, a woman of remarkable intellect, unwavering spirit, and a profound capacity for empathy, a woman who dared to see beyond the rigid boundaries of race and societal expectation, forging a connection that defied the brutal realities of the war around them. But here is where the fascinating and often debated process of adaptation takes a truly dramatic and significant turn. The film, while undeniably capturing the raw spirit of adventure and the tragic backdrop of the conflict, often veers quite sharply and deliberately away from the intricate pathways of the original text. Entire characters are not merely adapted, but fundamentally reshaped, their motivations and their narrative arcs significantly altered. Dialogue is stripped down, made more immediate and accessible to a contemporary audience. The novel's nuanced and detailed exploration of complex political maneuvering between the various European powers and the intricate, often heartbreaking struggles of the different native nations gives way to a more streamlined and emotionally charged tale, one primarily focused on survival against overwhelming odds and the undeniable central romance that blossoms amidst the chaos. This, then, is the very essence of our ongoing exploration here on Adapted Realms. What precious elements are inevitably gained, the immediacy of visual storytelling, the power of a compelling central romance, and what significant nuances, what crucial perspectives, are perhaps inadvertently lost or deliberately sacrificed when a beloved story is reborn on the vast canvas of the screen. Does the fundamental essence of the narrative truly remain intact, even when the intricate details shift, when the primary focus of the story changes, when the very meaning and emphasis evolve in the hands of a new and visionary storyteller? In The Last of the Mohicans, the profound and heartbreaking tale of cultural erosion and the irreversible loss of a way of life transforms, in this cinematic interpretation, into a sweeping and unforgettable romantic epic set against the dramatic backdrop of a brutal war. The slow burn of intricate political intrigue ignites into a high-octane and relentless fight for physical survival. And yet, the haunting echo of the title, The Last of the Mohicans, still resonates deeply. The enduring heartbreak of vanishing peoples, the heavy weight of broken treaties and unfulfilled promises, the profound and enduring connection to a land that serves as both a sacred refuge and a brutal battleground. These powerful themes, though perhaps presented through a different and more commercially viable lens, still manage to pierce through the layers of adaptation, leaving an undeniable mark on the viewer's soul. Join us once more on Adapted Realms as we delve even deeper into this truly fascinating and often complex transformation. We continue to ask the crucial questions. Why did the filmmakers consciously choose to amplify one compelling love story while perhaps diminishing the subtle yet powerful bond of another? What narratives does the powerful engine of Hollywood so often choose to elevate and celebrate, and which equally important stories, perhaps deemed less commercially viable, risk fading into the often unexamined background? And ultimately, what do these deliberate choices tell us, not only about the stories we as a society crave and consume, but also about the heroes we choose to celebrate, and the often difficult moments in our shared history that we consciously choose to remember, or perhaps inadvertently forget? The Last of the Mohicans is far more than just a captivating story from a distant past. It serves as a powerful and enduring mirror, reflecting not only the historical context it depicts, but also the very way in which we continue to tell and retell our stories in the present day. Who we choose to place at the very center of our narratives, what legacies we actively choose to uphold and amplify, and what crucial echoes of the past we inadvertently, or perhaps even deliberately, risk leaving behind in the relentless march of time. If you find yourself intrigued by the often vast and always fascinating space that exists between the enduring power of the written word and the captivating allure of the silver screen, if you possess a yearning to truly understand the intricate process by which classic tales are constantly being reimagined and reinterpreted across the vast expanse of time, then we wholeheartedly invite you to seek out the full, in-depth episode of Adapted Realms, available for your listening pleasure right now on Spotify. Thanks for joining me in this realm of stories where the page meets the screen. If you enjoyed today's journey, feel free to like and subscribe, because this is just the beginning of our ongoing and insightful journey into the ever-evolving realms of adaptation. Welcome once again to the Lingering Echo.